Unbelievable Truth, a show that takes things that are unbelievable but true, like the tarsier, and hides them inside things that are totally made up, like the unicorn. Playing tonight are Scott Dooley, Celia Pacquola, Stephen K Amos and Julian Morrow. Here's how the game works. Tonight, each guest gives a talk that should be completely false, except for a few true facts, which they try and sneak past the panel for points. Players buzz in if they think something's true. If they're right, they get a point, but if they're wrong, they lose one. Our first contestant tonight is Julian Morrow. Julian's friends all know him as Jules. That's why we call him Julian. His topic is Barbie.
All true blue Australian men own a Barbie. The Barbie doll is based on the real-life true story of Barbara Millicent Roberts, a one-time teen fashion model who went on to become an aerobics instructor, singer, business executive, surgeon, flight attendant, concert pianist, Air Force pilot, dentist, paleontologist, Olympic swimmer, teacher, astronaut, Formula One driver and 3 times presidential candidate who owned 21 dogs, 14 horses, 3 ponies, 6 cats, a parrot, a panda, a chimpanzee, a lion cub, a giraffe and a zebra. Evolutionists have traced the development of modern-day Malibu Barbie from primitive ape dolls. Barbie creationists reject this theory and believe that the doll is an example of intelligent design and shrewd marketing. Even though if a real woman had Barbie's proportions, she'd have to walk on all 4s.
Yep. I feel like I've read something about that because it's ridiculous.
No, you are actually right. That is true. The Barbie's proportions. If a person actually had Barbie's proportions, you would have to walk on 4 legs. The design flaw that Mattel really needs to address is that Barbie's legs are 50% longer than her arms, whereas the average woman's legs are only 20% longer than her arms. What? That's what a real person would look like if they were in the same proportions as Barbie. So, well done. Celia wins a point.
Thank you. Oh, well.
The male Barbie doll, Ken, is totally straight. The reason that he and Barbie have never kissed is that the original Barbie and Ken were actually brother and sister, just like Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia, except for the not kissing bit.
I've got a feeling that the original Barbie and Ken were brother and sister.
That is right. Well done.
Yeah.
Jules was being a little bit tricky here. Ruth Handler, the co-founder of the Mattel company, invented Barbie in 1959, and Barbie was named after her daughter, Barbara, and later the Ken doll was named after her son, Ken, so that's how they are brother and sister.
Oh.
The dolls themselves are dolls.
Oh.
All right, well done. You get a point. Continue.
Barbie dolls only became popular in the 1970s after Germaine Greer insisted on giving away a free Barbie with every copy of the female eunuch. Barbie's flair for international relations led to special commemorative Barbies, such as Cuban Missile Crisis Barbie, Summit Barbie to indicate the end of the Cold War, and Tiananmen Square Barbie, which was less commercially successful.
Yes.
I just reckon there was a Summit Barbie, like end of the Cold War Barbie.
Well done, Scott Dooley. Summit Barbie dolls were introduced in the 1980s to commemorate the end of the Cold War between the US and the Soviet Union. Well done, you get a point. Continue, Jules.
Speaking of international affairs, during her brief breakup with Ken, Barbie dated a male Australian character made almost entirely of plastic. Teen Talk Barbie became very well known for her pre-programmed catchphrases like "the money or the box," "what you talking about, Willis," and "vengeance is mine." But the doll which more than anything epitomises Barbie's status as a role model to young women is the one and only bulimia Barbie, which has an authentic, self-induced vomit action. Batteries are not included, but body image issues and self-hatred come as standard. Barbie dolls sell surprisingly well in Saudi Arabia, but the only clothing accessory sold is a hot pink burqa. And Barbie's Corvette comes with a male chauffeur bolted into the driver's seat to comply with the Saudi law forbidding female drivers.
Yes.
I reckon they go well in the Middle East.
No, they're actually banned in the Middle East. Barbies are banned in Saudi Arabia since 2003. In the Arab world, there is a hijab-wearing doll called Fulla. There she is there. I think that's her swimsuit range. Basic human rights sold separately.
Barbie has one entry in the Guinness Book of World Records for the world's longest doll car race. It's a spin-off of the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge called the Abu Dhabi Barbie Derby.
Thank you, Julian. We managed to smuggle 2 truths past the panel for 2 points, and they were that Barbie once did just say, "Vengeance is mine." The reason is that in 1989, the Barbie Liberation Organisation took advantage of similarities of the voice hardware of the Teen Talk Barbie and the Talking Dude G.I. Joe doll. And they'd buy them and they'd swap the voice boxes and they'd put them back into the shops.
That's awesome.
The Barbies started saying things like, "Vengeance is mine," and G.I. Joes would say things like, "Let's plan our dream wedding."
That's great.
During her brief breakup with Ken, Barbie dated a male Australian character called Blaine. He was an Australian surfer. Blaine came with a surfboard, a Bra Boys tattoo and his own dope. Barbie split from Blaine after his role in the Cronulla riots.
Was Blaine only available in Australia?
No, it was a worldwide thing. It was basically a publicity stunt. They made Ken and Barbie break up in 2004.
It looked like it was a publicity stunt, like their relationship was so real until then. I can't believe they played me like a fool. I believed in their love.
And then we fell for it again when the Kardashians did it. After the break, Scott Dooley will educate you on motorbikes.
It is physically impossible to have sex on the back of a motorcycle.
Stephen, come here. I'm sure we can figure this out. Depends, do you want to see me or not? What am I?
Welcome back to The Unbelievable Truth and welcome Scott Dooley. After years on Triple J, Scott Dooley left the ABC to go commercial. It just disgusts me that anyone would sell out like that. His topic is motorbikes.
The world's oldest form of transport is the motorcycle. Although
Oh, no, that's not true.
Technically, I should take a point away from you, but I feel like you've learnt your lesson.
Yay, kitty! It's how fiction. Great, thank you.
Continue, Scott.
all girls like men who ride motorbikes. There's nothing more romantic than a motorcycle, with the possible exception of a bouquet of motorcycles. But please remember, girls, if you're on a romantic overseas trip in Paris or London and some Cockney guy cracks onto you and asks you to go to the back seat of the Harley, say no. It's illegal, and if they think that's a suitable place, then they will not know how to satisfy you sexually.
Which bit do you think is true, Julian?
It's just when I heard not satisfied sexually, I just went... There are lots of weird laws in the world. Maybe that's one of them.
Oh, no, you are actually right. It is illegal. Well done. It has been illegal to have sex on a parked motorcycle in London since a law was passed in World War II.
So you can have one if it's moving.
Moving is fine. Go crazy if you can pull it off.
I've got to take that to task, being a Londoner.
Yes.
It is physically impossible to have sex on the back of a motorcycle.
Stephen, come up here. Come here. I'm sure we can figure this out. If you've got it, I think you've got it. Well, it depends. Do you want to see me or not? What am I? So if you get one leg there, wait, don't, and then now imagine doing this moving.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah.
blade.
Yeah.
You did get a point, Julian. Well done.
Guys, if you want to impress pretty girls but you don't ride a motorcycle, all you have to do is tell them that you ride 2 motorcycles at once in a crazy new configuration called a car. It is impossible to provide safety features for motorcycles because airbags always fling the riders off and seatbelts look way too sexy.
Just out of interest, Scott,
Yes.
do you actually ride a motorbike yourself?
No, I'm a coward. I would never ride a motorbike.
Okay. Well, same here.
Yeah, but I rode you on a motorbike. Motorcycle accidents always have a permanent effect on people's height, with the Easy Rider star Peter Fonda becoming half an inch shorter than he used to be due to a motorbike crash. It makes you wonder exactly how many motorcycle accidents Grant Denyer has been involved in.
I've got a feeling that lovely actor was indeed involved in a motorbike accident and something happened to maybe his spine.
Right.
And therefore he's slightly hunched over. Am I correct?
You are right. Well
Oh my
done.
God!
Peter Fonda from Easy Rider is half an inch shorter than he used to be because of a 1985 motorcycle accident. In the accident, he broke both his back and his neck.
I'm amazed I know that.
I am too.
Although I was driving the car.
The typical human body has 432 bones in it. Some say that it's ironic that Evel Knievel broke 433 bones, but that's because those people don't know what ironic means. Evel Knievel holds countless world records, with the most impressive being the women's 200-metre butterfly, which he set at the Sydney Olympics. He was later disqualified for using a jet ski. If your motorbike breaks down, the most dignified thing to do is to tow it home with your moustache. Yes, Stephen?
Now, that has got to be true because we saw footage of a man.
Yeah, but he said the most dignified way to pull your motorbike is with your beard.
Did you not see the crowd behind you? People were like, go on! Go on, Govinda!
Yeah, look at the dignity of this man.
Look at the strength in his face.
No, I think you're going to lose a point for that, sorry. Thank you, Scott. Scott managed to smuggle one truth past the panel, and it was that Evel Knievel broke 433 bones during his career. The typical adult body actually contains 206 bones. He just broke a lot of them. Russell Crowe has also broken 433 bones, and a few of them were his. Up next, Celia Pacquola will tell more lies about cake than a dieter.
You know what? I am delicious. And terrifying.
Welcome back to The Unbelievable Truth, where our next guest is Celia Pacquola. At the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, Celia won the Age Critics Award, which I think would be easy to get. I think the age is crap too. Her topic is cake.
Cakes were invented because strippers got sick of jumping out of soup. In the 1800s, yes, a baker's wife, Mrs. Wanda Sponge, held enormous cake competitions in which the losing cakes were laid in the street and the men of the village peed on them. Which is where we get urinal cakes from.
Which bit do you think is true there, Steve?
I think Wanda Sponge, because we now have sponge cakes, don't we?
No, Wanda Sponge did not hold cake competitions.
They're called sponge cakes because they resemble sponges.
Which were invented by Wanda Sponge.
It wasn't like this incredible coincidence. And your name is Sponge too.
Hang on, so SpongeBob is not named after Wanda Sponge either? You lose a point, sorry.
Now.
Continue.
Yep. Historically, Cakes are the best hiding places. The Trojan horse was actually a large black forest cake. Anne Frank's house was made of gingerbread. And in Los Angeles, a prisoner's friend tried to help him escape by sending him a muffin with a knife in it, 2 cakes with half a .38 caliber revolver hidden in each, and a Danish that was in the shape of a grenade but was just a Danish.
Damn you.
What do you think is true there, Ju?
The American prisoner getting sent that stuff. Do you notice how vague I'm being? Like, just dance.
Just something.
Which bit do you think is true?
The part that didn't involve Wanda Sponge.
Well, let me trounce you.
All right.
The part that is true is that sometimes cakes do make great hiding places because the Trojan horse was a cake.
You showed him.
Amazing.
The Trojan horse may not actually be real. If it was real, it was made of wood. If it wasn't real, it was made of imagination.
Maybe sponge.
Maybe sponge cake, maybe. You lose point, but
Brilliant.
Scott is actually right. In Los Angeles, a prisoner's friend tried to help him escape by sending him 2 cakes with half a .38 caliber revolver hidden in each. It didn't work in the end because he didn't send him the chocolate bullets as well. Well done, Scott. Thank you.
Cakes also make a great place to hide children. A recent study by Business Review Weekly found that the average office worker spends up to 4 hours a week eating birthday cake for a co-worker they don't know. Happy birthday, dear Cake.
Yes, Scott. What do you think's true?
Oh, I just instantly... It's such a negative space up here at the moment. I just instantly regret pressing... I reckon that there would have been some dumb study that would have said
You think
that...
it's a negative space? Okay, I'm going to say this as positively as I can. You're wrong!
A study concluded that all humans are ashamed of our utter dependence on cake, which is why we love making cakes that don't look like cakes. Like this one. Or this one.
It's uncanny. Which is which?
You think it's not real cake? It's totally real cake.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, look at that.
You know what? I am delicious. And terrifying. Look at me. Sorry, that's just me having fun now. In France, a couple made their wedding cake a life-size replica of the groom. Later, the bride was arrested at the reception for slicing into her new husband with the cake knife and giving small pieces of him to the guests to take home.
What do you think's true there?
Well, I just have a sip of my truth serum. I think it is possible that the couple in France did, in fact, have a life-size cake, such as one you have, of the groom.
Oh, you were so close. No, that's the wrong part of that.
Oh!
No, sorry.
And she cut, the rest of the story.
Oh,
Get out of town! Get out of Georgetown! And she...
I'm not giving it to either of you. There's a woman in Texas made a full life-size replica of herself. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, she's a bit of a fruitcake in both versions of her. So you lose a point.
Before pens and paper were common, people would write important messages to deaf people on cakes. And that is my talk about cakes.
There you go. Thank you, Celia. Celia managed to smuggle one truth past the panel, and it was a French bride was arrested at her wedding reception in 1995 for stabbing her new husband with the knife they had just used to cut the wedding cake.
During the wedding?
Yeah, at the end of it. When the cake came out, she stabbed him.
Are they still together?
Next up, Stephen K Amos will help us all look at the sun.
Now, the animal with the smallest arse on the planet is the guinea pig.
Did that small anus just open on your hand, by any chance? Truth, where our final guest is Stephen K Amos. Stephen is a star of stand-up here and in the UK, although his Nigerian heritage means that people are still wary of buying tickets to his show by email. His topic is the sun.
The sun is the source of all creation, and that's why Egyptian mythology correctly said that the sun was hatched from an egg laid by a giant hippopotamus that lived on the Nile.
Or based on that documentary footage that I just saw, maybe the Egyptians had a weird belief about how the sun developed or something?
They did have a weird belief, but it was not the weird belief that he said.
Right.
So you lose a point there. The ancient Egyptians worshipped Ra as their sun god. It's not believed that it came from an egg laid by a hippo, though.
Buddy, that's the best name for a god ever.
Yeah.
Rah! Don't you be good, or Rah will come for you. It's already halfway to being scary.
Continues.
Now, the ancient Egyptians coined a phrase similar to the very popular phrase that we still use today, and that is, the sun shines out of his ass, to refer to those smelly, big-mouthed people who think a lot of themselves. The ancient Egyptians were the first to recognize that the Earth revolved around the sun, which shows just how advanced they were, as most Americans still think that the sun revolves around the Earth, or at least around America.
I reckon there's a study that says that most Americans believe that the thing about the sun revolving around.
Even though you don't know what it is, you're right. Well done. Less than 50% of American adults understand that the Earth orbits the sun yearly, according to a basic science survey. You think that's bad as well? 100% of Americans cannot identify the sun on a map of the Earth. So dumb. So you get a point. Well done, Dools.
Yeah, but the Americans are very strange people. I mean, whenever I go to America, they're confused, right? All I have to do is open my mouth and they're like, oh my God! I was in a coffee shop and I just said, my good man, come hither. I require from you a cappuccino forthwith. And the guy behind the desk was like, oh my, hold on. Alopecia, get over here. Anaconda, get over here. Say it again. I went, I'd like a coffee. He was like, oh my God, is it Jeffrey from The Fresh Prince?
I believe that story.
Yeah. It happened.
Yeah.
Now, the animal with the smallest arse on the planet is the guinea pig.
Did that small anus just open on your hand, by any chance?
I'm not going to look. Now, the Incas believed that both the sun and the moon were born as twins to their creation god, a guinea pig, whom they called Chuckles.
I reckon the Incans believed the sun and the moon were brother and sister.
No, that's not a truth. Sorry, Jules.
I thought that as well. It sounds like a story.
The only knowledge I have of Incans and Egyptians is from poker machines as well. And I've never seen the moon feature, so I don't know why.
Yes, child. When you get 4 pyramids in a row, gold will fall from the sky.
Yeah, that's why they built the 3rd pyramid, to get the feature.
If you look very closely at tall people and things, they all lean gently towards the sun due to its increased gravitational powers. The taller the sunflower, the more it faces the sun. Mount Everest leans slightly towards the sun. Even tall buildings, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, lean towards the sun. The sun is sometimes called the morning star, which was a name given to the first ocean liner that the White Star Ferry Company commissioned to take English convicts to Australia.
That sounds pretty true.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't it? I just, to be honest, my mind went, what?
You think they hired a luxury liner to take the convicts to Australia?
Yeah, well...
We don't want these convicts to be unhappy.
10 years hard labour, but you do get to go on the QE2 on the way.
Yeah.
Which will be invented in 100 years' time.
Yeah, that's right.
You lose a point. Sorry, Celia. Continue.
Boo.
Thank you. Now, a return fare cost a mere 34 guinea pigs. The White Star Company built the Titanic in 1902 and are still fighting Hollywood producer James Cameron in a suit over defamation. Anyone can hit an iceberg, they say, but I wouldn't know, as you'd never, ever, ever catch me on a boat. Let me tell you, people, the afro and seawater are like a jockey's left and right testicle. They're never gonna meet.
Is it true that Stephen has like a morbid fear of boats or something?
It's not true, but, you know, historically, my people have had a bit of a raw deal on boats.
K Amos! Stephen managed to get one truth past the panel, and it was very tall buildings naturally lean very, very slightly towards the sun.
What?
The leaning tower Pisa is probably the only one that doesn't happen because it doesnn't start straight, so it doesn't actually lean either way. But it actually does lean. There you go. So do Italian cruise ships. So let's go to the results, ladies and gentlemen. In fourth place on -4 points, it's Scott Dooley. In third place on 0 points, it's Julian Morrow. In second place on 1 point is Celia Pacquola. Which means in first place on 3 points is Stephen K Amos. That is it for this week. Thank you to all of our guests tonight. They were all truly unbelievable, and that's the unbelievable truth.